Well, hello there, folks, and welcome into today's video. So this is everybody's favorite series, the Millionaire Explained series, and today we're going to talk about where to invest your money, where to put your money in 2021. I feel like every time you get to this point of the year, everybody's wondering, like, where should I be putting my money for the next year and things like that. And so that's what we're going to talk about in this video. And I'm going to give you my perspective as somebody that's been like caring about money a lot over the past 12 or 13 years now and paying attention to all these, sorts of subjects. So we're going to talk about real estate in this video, my perspectives on that. We're going to talk about stocks. We're going to talk about the stock market in general, index funds, things like that. We're going to talk about cryptocurrencies. We're going to talk about savings accounts. We're going to talk about CD accounts. And we're going to talk about just keeping your money in cash, literally, okay? We're going to talk about all those different subjects in this video here today. So it's a pretty good one, all right? Now, before we get started with all this, like two big things, okay? What do you know, okay? If one of these is, let's say, is a very attractive investment opportunity, what do you actually know what you're doing in that market? Let's say real estate, you want to get into real estate. Do you actually know what you're doing in that market? Do you know like the advantages to being in real estate? Do you understand how to do it on a high level or at least a medium level, right? Like, what do you know? You got to ask yourself that, because if you don't know what you're doing in any of these markets, it can end badly a lot of times, right? And also ask yourself, what do you want to explore this year in 2021? What are you trying to go after in the future? And sometimes like what you're setting up for in the future year, like what you're going to do in that year can help in many future years. So for instance, 2020 was a year where I really started taking advantage of real estate, and I bought 2 properties and got phenomenal deals on them. One was I got a spectacular deal that deal was put together in probably March. And the other deal, I got that put together in probably May. And I got 2 amazing deals. But the thing is, I've been like studying real estate for several years now. I started taking real estate serious a couple years ago. And so all that learning, all that kind of paying attention to what's going on, different tips and strategies, all that started to actually pay fruitions this year. All it starts to pay dividends this year. So, whatever you're doing out there, man, just realize like whatever that work is, that study, like that could pay off huge in future years. You just got to execute at the end of the day. So 2 big things there, okay? Hope you guys enjoy this video here today. As always, I'm recording this at probably midnight or so here in Vegas at the moment. So if you don't mind, smash that thumbs up. That helps YouTube channel out in a massive way. We got a really small channel. Although I think we hit 20,000 subscribers, so thanks for being here, guys. That's a big accomplishment. So super proud, super thrilled about that. One place that doesn't need any help is dang Stock Hub. That place is crazy. That's an old screenshot. We're well over 30,000 members now in Stock Hub. That's a free Discord chat. If you want to join it, you're absolutely welcome to. You can talk stocks with literally 30,000 plus investors from all over the world, absolutely free in there. I'll probably have that as the pinned comment down there. So if you feel like joining, you absolutely can do so, okay? Let's get into this, guys. So first thing I want to talk about is literally doing nothing with your money, like literally just keeping it cash. Like doing nothing. Don't care about stocks or cryptos or savings accounts, CD accounts, like any of that stuff, right? Like literally you could just do nothing with your money and just keep it under your mattress, in a checking account, I don't know, in your closet, wherever, okay? So the positive to that is, man, you've got money around. If all the assets drop in 2021, you got money around, right? And so if stocks fall huge, if real estate falls huge, you're ready to take advantage. Or, it can just help you sleep better at night, right? It's nice having some cash around. But if you're thinking about being all cash in 2021, there definitely are some negatives you got to understand here, okay? First one is your money's getting devalued all the time, okay? Like dollars become worth less over time, okay? Some people say worthless, some people say worth less, okay? Maybe both are true, all right? There's unlimited printing powers like at the Fed. Like, if they just want to like print money out of thin air, literally you can print money out of thin air. Like, that's what the government's basically there for. That's what the Fed's there for. I mean, remember when everybody got those $1,200 stimulus checks? Do you think that just like came from somewhere? Or you think that just pretty much came out of thin air? It just came out of thin air essentially, okay? And some people make fun of that and those sorts of things. And, at the end of the day, the dollar, the buying power of it, usually goes down over time, right? That's why people say, everything's getting so expensive, right? People are like, oh, that gallon of milk is so expensive now. Oh, that house is so expensive now. I remember when that used to be blah, blah, blah. You could get, a new car. Look at how much these new cars are nowadays. Back in the day, you could get a new car for blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing all the time. It's what ends up happening, okay? Another negative to keeping all cash is assets go up most years. Real estate becomes more expensive most years, right? Stocks become more expensive most years. The stock market in general goes up most years, right? So land in most good metro areas goes where? Up most years, right? So all these assets are getting more expensive over time. Meanwhile, cash is usually becoming worth less over time, right? So as for 2021, unless you're in a situation where everything falls huge, it's not the best situation to be 100% cash, because like we talked about, everything usually gets more expensive and assets usually go up in value, right? The verdict, in my opinion, about being cash is some cash is very good. You want to have some cash. 15 to 30% is, I think, a pretty good number for 2021. I usually always try to say 10 to 30%. I think this year maybe a little bit heavier. 15 to 30% I think is a really healthy number. That means you're invested a good amount, but you got a good chunk of change on the sideline, ready to deploy, ready to do whatever with. I think if you're 0% cash, I think it's dangerous, man, because any drop in the market, you have no money to take advantage. And that's a dangerous situation. That's not a good situation to be in. The same thing, if you're 100% cash, that's crazy as well. Because if you're 100% cash, man, everything's going up. And that's what happens most years. And so if you're 100% cash, your cash is it's just going down most of the time, man. Apple stock is a heck of a lot more expensive to purchase now than it was 9 months ago. Apple stock's a heck of a lot more expensive to purchase now versus 5 years ago, right? A house in most metro areas is a heck of a lot more expensive to buy today than it was 5 years ago, or 10 years ago for that matter, right? So that is something to keep in mind. 0% cash, dangerous. 100% cash, dangerous, okay? You always want to have a healthy number, and I think 15 to 30% is healthy for 2021. Savings accounts. Let's talk about savings accounts for a minute. This is obviously a place you could put your money, right? Okay, savings accounts are kind of a joke, I'll be honest. This is from Bankrate, okay? This is the best savings accounts out there. Citibank has the best one with 0.7%, okay? 0.7%. And that's the best. Ally Bank, which is what I think a lot of people use as their savings account, right? Their high interest savings account, Ally Bank, 0.6%. I mean, if you're thinking about that, let's say you have 15 to 30% cash. I mean, there's nothing wrong with keeping it in a savings account, because I guess it will grow a little bit more than if you kept it in a checking account or under your mattress, something like that. But man, the numbers are really bad for savings accounts. It is not an attractive time to be in savings accounts. Back in the 80s, it was amazing to have a savings account. Today, horrible. It's just awful to have a savings account nowadays. It literally does almost nothing for you. It's rough. CD accounts, same exact situation. Okay, CD accounts, certificates of a deposit, they lock up your money for a certain amount of time. If you pull out that money early, so let's say you do a 6-month, 12-month, 3-year, 5-year. Usually, if you pull out your money early, usually they'll hit you with a penalty, and it basically takes all the interest you earned away. It's usually a rough situation. Okay. Like we talked about back in the 80s, man, you're making money left over, hand over fist, okay? If back in the 80s, CD accounts, savings accounts, the numbers were crazy back then. But also, if you were getting a mortgage back then, that was super expensive too, okay? So, there are kind of some positives and negatives to all this, right? Now you can borrow money for a house, and it's so cheap, it's ridiculous, right? But look at CD accounts. It's a joke. It's a complete joke, man. It is just rough. Savings accounts and CD accounts literally nowadays cannot even be taken seriously. In my entire financial journey for the last 12 or 13 years, from the time I started caring about money in 2008, I've never been able to take savings accounts or CD accounts seriously. Never. And still to this day, here we are all these years later, I still can't take savings accounts and CD accounts seriously. Like I said, if you got some cash around, I guess you can put it in a savings account and get your 0.7%, but it's just a joke, okay? I mean, it's not an ideal place to put your money at the end of the day, because, even after 20 years go by, you're still going to have pretty much the same amount. It's just so minuscule that it doesn't even add up, okay? It's the day and age we're in, man. It's the day and age we're in, and you just got to deal with it. You can complain about it and be like, I wish I lived back in the 80s. It was also like 15% if you want to buy a house back in the 80s on a mortgage, right? Back in the 80s, man, it was all about having that cash money, having those savings accounts, buying everything cash. Buy a car cash, buy a house cash, all those sorts of things. Nowadays, it's like, get a loan, like 2%. Why not? Like, you're crazy if you pay cash, right? Let's talk about cryptocurrencies. So when you talk about crypto, the first thing that everybody talks about, Bitcoin, right? And this is the big cryptocurrency by far, right? I mean, even a lot of people that don't invest in cryptos, they know of Bitcoin, you know. So Bitcoin is almost 20,000 now. I remember, I think it was 2017, if I recall, Bitcoin hit almost, around 20,000 or so. So, Bitcoin had a little rough time for basically, 3 years. It was kind of up and down. And, from the time of December 2017 to now, it hasn't done much, but it's gone a lot of places. It went down to, I think, 3,000 at the lows, if I recall. And now here we are, all the way back to 19,000 now. So anybody that's bought along the way has done pretty good. Anybody that bought even, like, let's say last year has done very good with Bitcoin. Bitcoin was 7,200 if you go back a year ago at this time. Bitcoin today is almost 20,000. You got almost a triple up there. Very, very nice, okay? So Bitcoin, a lot of people are looking at Bitcoin as the new age gold, essentially, like a store value. And it's not up for me to say that's wrong or right. Like, people can make their own decisions, but that's just what's going on. And you're seeing it. Even if I watch like something like CNBC, I'll see like ads and commercials of different financial institutions like offering products that will allow you to get exposure to Bitcoin. So obviously, if you know a lot about Bitcoin and you think it's a great store of value and that's your opinion, then obviously that's an option for you. I am certainly no expert on cryptos. I can tell you that, okay? I will tell you, if I did put money in a crypto, which I don't have any money invested in cryptos right now, but if I did, I would put it in Ethereum. I like Ethereum. The reason I like Ethereum is because the dude that's, the creator of Ethereum. I have I've watched so many times, like, interviews with this gentleman. I have a hard time believing that this guy's going to give his life's work to this big project, and it's not going to be something huge, right? So, that guy is like, it's like a situation, do you bet on the horse or do you bet on the jockey? And if you're betting on Ethereum, I feel like you're kind of betting on the jockey. At least that's the way I view it, because that guy, I think he's special. And I think, like I said, it's very hard for me not to imagine that guy creating like one of the bigger things in the world over time. So, Ethereum can be interesting, okay? And if I was to buy one in 2021, I'm buying Ethereum personally, okay? But there are a lot of other options. So we talked about the two majors. You got Bitcoin, you got Ethereum, right? $356 billion market cap, $65 billion market cap with Ethereum. Then you got all the smallers, right? Ripple, XRP. A lot of people like Ripple. A lot of big banks have gotten involved with Ripple to a certain extent. A lot of believers of Ripple and the technology there. You have Tether, you have LTC, you have Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash, I've seen a lot of positives around that. I think just some people hate on Bitcoin Cash because Roger Ver, I think, is involved with that project, and some people don't like him. But anyways, there are different options for you out there. I feel like if you don't really know Bitcoin, or you don't know cryptos in general, let's say you just don't know much about cryptos, but you want to invest, I feel like that should be treated as like speculative money. So I always kind of view like my portfolios as like 3% to 5% of my portfolio can be in like spec stocks, right? Since I'm a stock market investor. And I feel like if you got an overall portfolio and you don't really know much, and you can't really wrap your head around it, it's not the best to ever go big on those sorts of things because you just don't understand it, right? But there's if you want to put 3% in it, I can understand a move like that. I really can, because sometimes you see something, you want a piece of it. You don't fully wrap your head around it, but you want a piece of it. So I can understand that, okay? But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't expect Bitcoin to triple every year or something like that, right? It's been a heck of a past year for Bitcoin, all right? Let's talk about real estate for a moment, okay? So the way I view real estate, if you're thinking about buying real estate in 2021, is it's a don't be desperate year, okay? Unless you really, really need a place, I would say don't be desperate. Don't chase deals. A lot of people are chasing deals right now in real estate because real estate's hot, man. Real estate's moving. I can tell you, in both the main markets I spend time in, Arizona and Vegas, Nevada, both are moving. And I mean, Texas is moving. Like most of the popular metros around the United States of America are moving, okay? Real estate's really good in the majority of places. And so I feel like if you're going into 2021, don't get desperate for a deal unless you really, really need a place, and you've got to have a place, okay? Now, the pros for real estate in 2021, interest rates are incredibly low. If you're looking to borrow money for a house of your own or for an investment property, real estates are pretty much the lowest ever in recorded history, literally. So you're in a pretty good time to borrow money. Let's put it that way. I mean, incredible. And refinancing of mortgages is amazing right now, okay? Also, the market's been strong. The real estate market showed tremendous strength here in 2020. And so you're going into 2021 with a very strong housing market. Like I said, across most major metros in the United States. And the homes in general are being taken more serious than ever before because of work from home. You've had a huge change where basically companies have said, it's okay, work from home. You can work from home half the time. You can work from home all the time. A lot of companies are not going to go back to the office the same way they were before. Some companies are never going back to the office, which means your home has become more important than ever. You're spending more time there. You care about it way more because remember, a lot of tens of millions of people used to spend 8-10 hours a day at the office, right? That's where they are. And then they go out to eat. And then, the only time they're home is when maybe they're watching TV, taking a shower and sleeping. And so now all of a sudden people are spending, if you look at the amount of times people are actually spending at home now, it's gone up through the roof. Pretty much the highest in modern history, literally. So when you have a situation like that, people are going to care more about real estate. People are going to be looking for homes. Hey, I needed a home with an extra bedroom because now I got to need a home office, a true home office, right? And then if you got two people in the house, maybe they need 2 bedrooms now because they need 2 separate offices, right? You got a husband and wife, all of a sudden they never needed a serious home office, and now all of a sudden they're like, oh, we need 2 because I'm always on the phone, you're always on the phone. And, we need, all of a sudden this whole opportunity has emerged in real estate that was never there before. So that's definitely a pro, okay? The bad is that the prices have gone up a lot in many major markets. I mean, just, it's the way it's been. I mean, a lot of people thought, with everything that happened with Rona, real estate was going to fall through the floor and it was going to be an ugly situation. And it's just not the way it's worked. It's worked the opposite way, okay? And you got to think about the economy, okay? What's going to happen with this economy? We have seen a lot of businesses doing pretty good, right? Online businesses and a lot of businesses in general, because ultimately people have limited choices with their money right now, right? There are only so many places you can spend money right now. There's still, even now here in December of 2020, there's still very few things you can actually do, right? There's such a limit on the type of things and experiences you can do right now. And so I feel like it's kind of artificially inflated some businesses to make everything kind of look better than it really is. So how does the economy perform when everything's competing against each other again and everything's opened back up again? That's important. That's interesting, okay? What happens when all the mortgage forbearance goes away and rent forbearance and things like that? That's definitely a risk that's out there in the market, and it is something you got to kind of think about. And that's why I say don't get desperate in 2021 to buy properties. If you see the right deal and it makes sense, nothing wrong with it, but don't get desperate for real estate in this year. I think, back in when the Roni was just kind of taking off, I think that was a really good time. I bought a couple of properties, and you had negotiating leverage. You could use, hey man, I don't know what's going to happen here. There was a lot of negotiation leverage with, whoever you were dealing with. Now, the market's been so dang strong, man. Look at this. So this shows you, and the newest numbers, by the way, are actually coming out here in about a week or so. So new houses sold. This was October numbers. The November numbers will come out in about a week or so. New houses sold, 990,000, over 990,000, right? Median sale price of $330,000. Look at that chart there. It's extreme, right? And then let's look at the chart below there. Average sale price of homes sold in the United States. It's pretty good, right? So you're looking at that, and it's like not like real estate's cheap right now. Let's just put it that way. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. So real estate's like, it's okay. Don't get desperate. Stocks in the stock market, okay? So stocks in the stock market, valuations are high right now. 99% of stocks in the market, in my opinion, are at fair value or overvalued right now, okay? Which just means you're going to get limited returns or negative returns, depending on the stock, over the next couple of years. That's all that basically means, okay? Limited returns or negative returns over the next couple of years if you're seeing a ton of stocks already at fair value or especially overvalued, okay? And I would say it's about 99% of stocks right now. I really do. However, that means there's 1% of deals in the market. Remember, there are thousands, literally several thousand stocks in the stock market that you have to pick from to invest in, okay? Many, many thousands. So even if there's 1% of those stocks, there's still plenty of stocks out there to find to invest in that are actually undervalued, really good deals where you can acquire an asset, stock ownership in a company for actually a pretty dang good deal, okay? Tech stocks have been red hot, so watch out. The NASDAQ has had back-to-back unreal years. I was looking at the NASDAQ performance in 2019. It was 35%. Recently, I was looking at what it's performed this year. It was over 40. That's unreal, okay? Unreal performance for the NASDAQ. So I would say with tech stocks, watch out. Be very, very, very careful with tech-related companies. I think that's definitely a time where you got to be careful. A lot of them have priced in so much future growth. And it's definitely a time when it comes to tech stocks where you got to watch out. There's been phenomenal opportunities to buy tech stocks in the past. Late 2018, obviously March, April, May, June, phenomenal time to get a lot of tech stocks. Right now, be careful, okay? A lot of travel stocks have already ran. So a lot of people, especially newer folks to the market, they're starting to think, okay, travel is going to start coming back in 2021. Okay, let me start getting in some of these travel stocks. A lot of these stocks have already ran, okay? Wynn Resorts, if you got in that several months ago, you're looking beautiful. Now, it's ran a lot. Doesn't mean it won't run some more, but it's ran a lot. It's already priced in a lot of good things already, okay? And I'm looking at a lot of travel stocks that it's the same exact situation. They already ran a lot, and they're not that good of opportunity, okay? There are a lot of noobs in the market right now, newbie investors, okay? And they're chasing a lot of these valuations with FOMO. This has been the greatest year ever for companies like Robinhood, Webull, these other brokerages. It's been the best year ever for these companies in terms of new users and everything. It's been ideal, okay? And there are a lot of those type of individuals that are pushing up a lot of these valuations, along with investment funds chasing end-of-year returns because the market's been so strong recently, and a lot of them weren't invested enough, and so they've had to try to invest here in the last few months even heavier. And so you've had a lot of newbie investors chasing any valuation on any stock. You've had funds chasing, any valuation on any stock, and it's made for a situation where we have 99% of the stocks out there at fair value or overvalued right now. That's the situation we're in right now, okay? And so in that type of market, you got to understand, you better know what you're doing. This isn't just an easy market. It's not like shooting fish in a barrel. Hey, man, March, April, May, June, deals galore, okay? In the market, deals everywhere, right? You go back to October, November, December 2018, deals everywhere. There are certain times in the market where it's easy to invest. You can make so much money. Right now, I'm looking at a lot of these valuations, and I'm like, whoo, you better be in the right kind of stocks right now. Because if you're in the wrong ones, you're likely going to get very limited returns or actually negative returns in the market, okay? So 2021 in general is a tough year. It's a really, really tough year because you're going into a year where cash is being devalued, right? Your cash is becoming worth less. Real estate's not cheap. It's not like oh man, it's so cheap to buy a house right now. It's cheap in terms of interest rates, man. Geez, 2.6% or whatever you can get a loan for right now. That's really cheap, but the property itself is not cheap. I was just talking with my brother-in-law today, and he was talking about he's looking for properties, and 2021's always been the year he wants to buy a house. And he's like, man, I'm looking at some of these houses that are $500,000, and I would have to put a bunch of money into it to get it up to this standard or something like that. So yeah, I think most people would say real estate's not cheap right now, right? Savings accounts are a joke. CD accounts are just a joke. I mean, it's the best way to put it. They just, it's ridiculous, okay? It's the times we're living in. 99% of stocks are not cheap in the market right now. So the way you kind of got to view a year like 2021 as far as investing your money, putting your money places, you need a little bit of everything. There's not a great place to put your money at all right now. Like I said, real estate's not cheap. Stocks are not cheap. Cash being devalued. There's not like one thing where it's like cryptos. A lot of people don't even understand, cryptos and what's going on there, right? So it's not like there's just one thing where it's like, put your money here and it's easy money, right? I feel like it's one of those years you kind of, as far as your approach and putting money places, you kind of got to do a little bit of everything. And you can't just be in one thing. Otherwise, it's going to be not an ideal situation at the end of the day. So that's my perspective on 2021. It is a tough year. There are some years, like going into 2019, it was like, man, stocks, load the boat on stocks, right? There's some years where it's like real estate. There's some years where it's like cash up. And this year, going into 2021, it's tough, man. It's tough. I feel like you need a little bit of everything, essentially, at the end of the day for this coming year, all right? So hope you guys enjoyed this. As always, if you don't mind, smash a thumbs up for me enjoying, sharing all this stuff with you about, valuations and kind of the way I'm viewing the market in these different asset classes and things like that. If you want to join Stock Hub, it's absolutely free to do so. You can check that out. It is going to be the pinned comment down there. So anyways, have a great one, guys. Peace.